We're back.
What up, what up?
So, California Soul. Let me explain. The first time I ever heard of California Soul, I came to Merced and there was a party there. Hocus was DJing.
All right.
And I seen the guys with these crazy like rayon shirts with corduroy pants, and they was doing the super bugged out style though, bro. And I didn't know who they was though, you know?
Right.
And then somebody said, I think it was the Filipino looking dude though. I forgot his
Eric
name.
D?
Yeah. He told me they were called California Soul. So can you explain to me who is California Soul and where are the members from?
All right, first, California Soul was a split off from the DJ group I was in called Central Unit. So Central Unit was strictly DJing, but we used to have dancers, and we used to get on the mic and do raps.
And what year was that?
I mean, Central Unit started in '81, so, but they're still around today in 2024. You know what I mean? 2025. So,
California Soul. What year was that?
So I split off from them in '90.
Okay.
And so, California Soul was me and my boy Paul Crucial. It was two of us. California Soul was two rappers. Me and him used to rap. And then our boy from the Central Unit, Adrian, Mixing Baby, then he got in the crew. He was gonna help us. He was gonna be our DJ. Then we got two dancers. The two original dancers for California Soul when we rapped and had our DJ were two girls from Oakdale. It was Brenda and Letty from Oakdale. So California Soul's first dancers were actually two girls. And they were hard with it though, man. They got down. So then I had a show in Tulare. We were just rapping and had our dancers. And then Eric D came, Crucial invited him, the other rapper invited him to come and just get down. So I said, yeah, man, just solo, you know what I mean? We got the girls that are doing routines, just come out and solo for this little part. So he came out and soloed, and I already met him, I already knew who he was a good guy. And so I asked him, you want to be down in California Soul? So he said, yeah. So then Eric Doman, he became a member of California Soul as a dancer. So originally, we wanted my boy Kwani and Herman to be the dancers, but my boy Kwani moved away to Sacramento, and then Herman ended up moving away. So we had Eric D, and he got my boy Jeff and Eddie. So it was three guys and two girls. So we had five dancers, two rappers, and a DJ. That was California Soul. So then, so we did a bunch of shows, San Jose, Fresno area, and then my mom passed away, and I kind of just stopped, my enthusiasm for doing shows. So the rap, the music part of California Soul stopped, but the dancers kept on popping up at parties and dancing. So by this time, Eric had Eddie and Jeff stopped being in the crew, and then Eric D got his boy Shane. That's a whole nother crazy story. So then I met Shane, and so we had Eric D and Shane, and then Shane had a brother named Sean. So we had Eric, Shane, and Sean, and they had a boy named Bippin. So then Eric, Shane, Sean, and Bippin. And so they would practice all the time, but they were doing like East Coast flips, gainers. They were doing like the house dancing. And then they wanted to kind of like dabble in the breaking, but it wasn't until this event that happened in Merced that all the dancers that were from the 209 decided to become breakers. And at that dance in Merced, it was a dance contest, and George and Ivan Manriquez entered the contest. California Soul entered the contest. A bunch of dancers entered the contest, and you know who won? These two guys that came up and just took off their shirts, and the crowd went crazy, and they won the contest just by taking off their shirts. Some random dudes. But at that contest was some dudes from LA that came, that they were dressed like with beanies and flannels. They looked like cholos, dude. All choloed out. We're like, what are these cholos doing here? You know what I mean? But they started housing, right? They started dancing to house music. And then they started breaking. They were busting windmills, head spins, 90s, and all the 209 dancers that were out here who didn't really mess with breaking, ever since that dance, they all started messing with breaking. This is before Tootie. This is before we saw Tootie and Jughead for the tribe. This is before that, because he came like a little bit after that. But at that dance in Merced, the dance contest, that's where a lot of the like Lloyd and all them, that's when they saw these guys, these Cholo guys out there breaking. So Stevie, I think, was there too. His brother David, R.I.P. David, you know what I mean? So it was the Booney Boys went out there too. So it was because of that dance, the Cholo breakers, it's like, we're like, who the fuck are these guys? So everybody wanted to start breaking. So I would go to Shane and Sean's house and they would try to practice breaking. But since I came from the 80s era breaking, I was like, man, you gotta do this, man. You know what I mean? Like, so I like helped them out with some of the footwork and stuff. You know, I kept it, you know what I mean, simple. But they picked up some of what I was able to do, and like I used to jump into the windmills from standing up. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
Boom. So that's how they got that. So they saw that it wasn't hurting me. So they're like, they were trying that too. You know what I mean? So Eric, Shane, and Sean and Bippin started messing with the breaking. You know, because they like, if old ass Alvin could do it, you know what I mean? If 99 can do these little baby moves, you know what I mean? We could do them. You know what I'm saying? So they started practicing, and then they got the breaking down. So now they were dancing and breaking.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean? And then now Lloyd and them and Stevie and them were breaking more too. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that's where that came. Because before that, they were just doing East Coast and house music dancing. You know what I mean? And some flips. And Ivan and George were Manriquez brothers. They were like, when they would do the routines, like at that contest in Merced, they were doing like hammer style dancing, like powerful, you know what I mean, R&B dancing. You know what I mean? And with some flips. So, but I knew they used to break before that though. They come from that earlier era too. But like to keep up with all the trends, you know what I mean, they were doing the trendy dances. So, but yeah, there was a dance contest in Merced that set off the whole valley to want to break, and it was because these Cholos came up and started breaking, like real breaking. You know what I mean? It wasn't like new school type breaking. It was like old original style. You know what I mean? So it was because of that. So California Soul went from 2 guys rapping, then they got their DJ, then they got 2 girls dancing, then they got a couple of guys dancing. And then when I stopped, like I said, when I stopped with the music, the dancers started going to these parties and these contests. And then a whole new generation was like, that's California Soul. And they only knew the dancers. Those are the dancers from California Soul. But California Soul was a rap group. We were rapping and DJing, you know what I'm saying? So when I would go somewhere and they'd be like, oh, hey, what's up, Nan? Yeah, California Soul's here. And I'm like, motherfucker, I'm the fucking creator and the leader of California Soul. That's my group, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But people didn't know that. They thought California Soul was just Eric, Shane, Sean, and Bippin. Because that's who was representing and keeping the name alive. You know what I'm saying? They kept the name alive as a dance group. But really, California Soul was like a complete crew. It had DJ, rappers, and dancers, you know what I'm saying? So that's just the history of how California Soul came about, you know what I mean? So people, and now to this day, fast forward, Eric moved away, and Sean got a job, and then, like, you know what I mean, like people got in their own little lives and started doing different stuff. But then Kwani, my boy, moved from Sacramento to Modeesto in 92, 93, and we started doing popping routines together, because he's like my height, and I grew up knowing him from the Central Unit days. And now that he was back, he was supposed to be an original member of California Soul. Now that he's back, we were just partying one day, and I said, hey man, you know how to pop still? He was like, yeah. And so I said, let's just fuck around and do some routines. So I invited him to my house, and we just put on some music, and we just like, we're trying to remember what we used to do in the 80s, you know what I'm saying? Like, what would they do? Remember Damien and Jeff, Electro City Strutters? Yeah, they used to do something like this, right? And so then we would just put on the music, and we'd have a mirror, and we were like, you know, yeah, that looks clean, yeah. They did something like this too, I remember that move. Yeah, we'll do that too. So we were just making up shit, routines, trying to remember what looked like the 80s, you know what I'm saying? Well, okay, I remember, because we didn't have no videos and shit, man. So we're like, this looks cool, you know, or this looks cool. So we were just making shit up, and then we got them clean. And then in 93, our debut as Poppers was right here at the California Ballroom. It was in April of 93. We had Eric, Shane, and Sean, dancing, breaking, flipping, and then me and Kwani came out with some flannels, with some beanies, and came out doing our popping routines for the first time together here at the California Ballroom. That was April '93. And then so we're like, shit, that shit went fucking tight. Let's do some more routines. So we started practicing. So we got like 6 little short routines, and then we started going places like San Jose. We walked into Hollywood Junction. They had a circle one time. It was me, Kwani, Eric, Shane, and Sean. We went up in Hollywood Junction, and we had just did a show across the street at the Civic Center, a freestyle show. And so we were like hype. We went into the circle. Bam! Eric and Sean did a routine. Then they come back. Then me and Kwani did a routine. And then Eric and Shane did a routine. And then we were just all interchanging. Like, we just took over that motherfucking circle. That's how we met Tommy Boy. Tommy Boy was there in that circle. And he put on a clown mask and was hitting hard. And we're like, is that guy that came to the Center Plaza that time from Renegades? You know what I mean? We're like, I think that's him. So after a little while, Tommy Boy came up to us and was like, where are you guys from? We're like, we're from Modeesto. And he was like, oh shit, you know my boy Ivan. We're like, yeah, we know Ivan. And so that's how we met Tommy Boy, was because we jumped in some shit at the Hollywood Junction in a circle and just kept doing routine. Oh, you want some house? We got this. You got some flips? We got this. You got some popping? We got this. You know what I mean? And we just started fucking shit up. So California Soul took on the next generation, was like starting to add the popping. You know what I mean? So then like Sean and Eric kind of like stepped back from the dancing and then left Shane by himself. So it would be me and Kwani doing routines and Shane just soloing. So then we started incorporating Shane in some more routines, and so then it was 3 poppers, you know what I'm saying? So right now people think probably California Soul is like 3 poppers, you know what I mean? But it went, like I said, it went from 2 rappers, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And it went all through the generations. And then like if we go to LA or if we see somebody that remembers us, you know what I mean, from an era, they're like, oh yeah, you guys pop, you know what I mean? So they know it's just as California Soul as poppers, you know what I mean? So we got to actually go to Poppin' Pete's parents' house, and shout out to Tick and Deck, Derek, a member of the Boogaloos back in the 70s and 80s, man. I met Tick and Deck, which is Poppin' Pete's brother, in Fresno, and I was just fucking around, goofing around, popping, and he saw me, and I said, yeah, Poppin' Pete's from Fresno, man. And he goes, what you know about Poppin' Pete? What did you say? And I go, Poppin' Pete's from Fresno. And he goes, Poppin' Pete's my brother. And I was like, what's your name? He's like, I'm Derek, I'm Tick and Dick. I was like, what's up, man? You know what I mean? And so he invited me to his house, and then we got down and moved the furniture around, and we got down, me, Kwani, and Shane got down at their house in Fresno, dude, because Skeeter Rabbit and Poppin' Pete went to a wedding in the Bay Area, and on their way back, they stopped in Fresno at their parents' house. And Derek said, hey, Pete's gonna be here tomorrow with Skeet. Come through, bring your boys, they wanna meet you. So we're like, cool, so we went over there, man. We just, you know what I mean, met the legendary Poppin' Pete and Skeeter Rabbit. You know what I mean?
That's some dope history.
I mean, I got a lot of crazy stories, man. How we happened to be somewhere, and somebody recognized us from like Ivan introducing us. They're like, oh, you guys are Ivan's boys. Yeah, come over here, come through. You know what I mean? And then we end up on stage somewhere or something. You know what I mean? Like crazy shit happens, like with the networking. You know what I'm saying? And just being around the scene still, being around. You got to be at the right place at the right time these days. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You
like
know?
Today.
Yeah.
Just like today.
Yeah, today, man. Like I work for a radio station, and I did all my mixes last night for the station, right? So I had free time today, and this dude hit me up today. I was like, yeah, perfect. You know what I mean? I got free time today, so you know what I mean?
That's dope. 99.
Yo.
Okay. We're gonna take it back. I say around 92, there was a tape that everybody had. It was actually a tape of the Jughead tribe. Okay. So in the beginning of the tape, it goes Jughead, Jughead, and then you see a dude come out, and it's Corel from Jughead tribe. He's doing the crab dances, all right? So I'm watching the tape, and then I see 3 kids like line up, like they get on their back, right? And it said, give it up for Flip Man, check out Flip Man. And he runs and he does a flip, and he flips over 3 kids, and it was like, yeah, Flip Man. And when I used to watch that tape, I didn't know his name was Ivan, but everybody kept saying Flip Man. So that's 92.
Right.
So I want to ask, can you take it back further? Like your introduction, like what was it like seeing Ivan in the early days before he became who he is today? Because you're the closest, because you've seen it from day one with the Manriquez brothers. So let me ask you with that,
Right.
like, what was your introduction with Ivan and the Manriquez brothers in Modeesto?
Right. So I went to a junior high called Mark Twain in Modeesto, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at junior high, in 7th grade, their brother Jesse Manriquez was going there, and I had him in PE class, and he remembers too, because he'll remember my suit that I had on, my little Adidas tracksuit and shit. But anyway, so I met Jesse first, just through PE, you know what I mean? And we didn't hang out, but I just knew him, you know? And then I met Hocus. Hocus went to Mark Twain as well. So, but I didn't kick it with them. I just knew who they were, right? It was just these guys, you know, in my class. So fast forward, dude, through time, like through high school, like I knew them, like I knew Jesse, but like I said, we didn't hang out or kick it, right? But in '88, my DJ crew Central Unit, we were already established in the area, right? And we had a day off, we didn't have no gigs, and we were right over here. There's a hall right across the freeway.
I think I went to it.
It was a little tiny hall, and we walked in, and there was like some wedding or something like that, right? So we wanted to see who's DJing, and it was homeboy Jesse Manriquez that I knew since Mark Twain and MJC, the junior college. I was like, oh shit. So I went up and said, what's up to him, shook his hand. I was like, oh, that's cool, you're DJing now, you know what I mean? So that was my first time seeing Jesse Manriquez DJ.
Okay.
And I don't remember who was all with him, but I remember him for sure there. So that was in '88, right? So as time went on, I'd see Jesse more at more gigs, you know what I mean? And so then I started seeing Hocus with him, right? And I knew that was his brother. And then I saw DJ Gemini, who I knew since back in the days, Jesse Norfless, rolling with them guys too. So they had like a little clique, you know what I'm saying? And then they started dancing. But I didn't see Ivan around, like he was too little at the time. So this is like '89, right? So then they started being dance contests, right? So there was a dance contest that had George Manriquez and Ivan Manriquez. And it was right here at the California Ballroom. Once again, legendary spot.
Modeesto.
So there was a dance contest, and it was in like in '89, and they had the MC Hammer style, and they were doing the Hammer stuff, and then Ivan would run up to George, and George would flip him, and everybody would go crazy because Ivan was little. It was like this little kid, you know what I mean? Like, oh shit. So that's how I saw Ivan for the first time, doing dance contests with George. And I knew they were related to Jesse and Hocus. But when Jesse and Hocus did the DJ parties, I didn't see George or Ivan. I saw Hocus and Jesse. So I don't know for sure if their name, because this is just something funny. There was a promoter named Armando, Gents Productions, right? We were already working with him as Central Unit. We were working with him and as California Soul. And he called me one time and said, hey, I want you guys to perform at this party I'm throwing. Do you know any other acts or anybody that could perform at this party as well? Somebody that's probably popular in the area. And I was like, and I knew that Ivan, Hocus, Jesse, and George were now not only DJing, but they were incorporating the dancing and the MCing and doing songs like we were doing. And so I told Armando, I go, yeah, there's this crew. It's a bunch of brothers, you know what I mean? I don't know their name. I don't think they go by anything, but it's the Manriquezes. And he's like, okay, you think you could hit him up and invite him to this party? I want to get them to perform too. I go, yeah. So they either go by the Manriquezes or the Manriquez brothers, because they're all brothers. I don't know, but I'll try to get their number for you. He's like, okay, get their number. So we had DJ'd a quinceañera for Terry Funk, who was dating George. So I remember that. I was like, okay, I gotta get the quinceañera girl's number to get George Manriquez's number. So I called the Central Unit wife. I said, hey, can you give me the number of the quinceañera girl we DJ'd for? And then she said, okay, it's Terry Funk. and here's the number. And so I called Terry and said, hey, this is 99 from Central Unit. I want to get George Manriquez's number because there's some people that want to book them for something. So she gave me their number, and then I gave the number to Armando from Gents, and I said, yeah, I think they just go by the Manriquez brothers. I mean, that's what I call them. That's what Central Unit, we called them that. So they ended up doing the show, but they went by Boys of the Century. That was like a side name. Ivan and George and them, they were called Boys of the Century. I still have the flyer. So my introduction for Ivan was seeing him dance here in a contest and then a couple other contests, knowing that he was with his brothers when they DJ'd, and then finally keep fast forwarding, you know what I mean, to like the years go by, 90, 91, he's doing flips, he's doing gainers, you know what I mean? He's dabbling in some of the breaking because I know he used to break when he was younger, and he's just bringing it back. He wasn't one of those people that, oh, I'm gonna start breaking now. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and he's already older. He was breaking since he was younger. You know what I'm saying? Because of his brothers. So he started doing some flips, gainers. Like I said, maybe a 90, maybe a quick drill head spin. You know what I mean? So he started being known for that. And I'd say, like I said, when that dance happened in Merced, the dance contest where the Cholos came, like that brought out more breaking. It enthused everybody because at that contest, Ivan and George were still doing the hammer dance routines. They weren't breaking. And from that dance, when those Cholos came down from LA to Merced, it changed everybody's perspective. Like, okay, it's cool now. We want to look cool like these motherfuckers, you know what I mean? So they look like Cypress Hill, but breaking, you know what I'm saying? And so that changed a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying, in Modeesto, was that dance in Merced. Because if it wasn't for those Cholos, like, I mean, Ivan probably would have bugged out and still started breaking, but like how it happened with everybody at the same time, you know what I mean? It was that dance that set it off, you know what I mean, in Merced. So yeah, when he started getting more breaking, a lot of fools were coming from San Jose and finding out about him and the scene that we had, and we would go to San Jose too.
How far is San Jose from Modeesto?
San Jose, it'll probably take you an hour and 15 minutes to get to San Jose.
Really? Is that close?
Yeah.
Shit, I'll go to San Jose tonight.
So yeah, man.
Yo,
so
that's
the
a
rapper,
good idea.
So there was a rapper from Turlock named Candy, and she was in the Central Unit, right? So she would load up her car with all the dancers, and they took off to San Jose a couple times, you know what I mean? To World War III, I think it was, you know what I mean? She loaded up like Stevie. I'm not sure if Ivan went, but it was a couple other fools. So like Candy was down with the hip hop scene too, you know what I mean?
That's dope, man. I know we can go for days though, bro. We're already like on the hour. I love it. With all that being said, 99, like, you've been in the scene technically 40 years, right?
Yeah, probably around there.
Nothing wrong with that.
Because I started breaking, I started knowing about breaking in '83.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The Gladys Knight and the Pips video that had the New York City Breakers in it.
Yeah.
I saw that on TV. The next couple of days after that was the last days of school of 8th grade. And some fool I knew named Spider, he said, hey, do you guys know what breaking is? Have you heard of breaking? And we laughed at him like, what's breaking? What is that? He goes, it's like when Prince on Little Red Corvette, it's like when Prince does that helicopter swipe. It's kind of like that, but they do more. And I go, wait a minute. I saw the Gladys Knight and the Pips video where they're spinning around like on their hands and on their backs. Is that breaking? And he's like, yeah, that's breaking. They're all doing it in the projects right now. And I was like, okay, so it's called breaking. So my introduction to breaking was seeing it on TV on the Gladys Knight and the Pips video, right? And then my boy telling me what the name of that shit was, because I saw it, but I didn't know what it was called. He knew what it was called. And so that was the last day of school in my 8th grade year. And all that summer, all you saw was people practicing, trying to break, trying to do this, trying to do windmills, trying to do, you know what I mean? Like all that stuff. So that was summer of '83. So in my freshman year, everybody was breaking at Modeesto High, man. You know what I mean? We were already popping though. We had been popping for a long time, you know what I mean? Before breaking. So everybody was either popping or breaking, you know what I mean? For the most part. So that's how the breaking came, the breaking name, you know what I mean? We heard it, we didn't, know it as anything like b-boying or any of that. You know what I mean? We heard that term later on. When I first heard of that dance, it was called breaking, because my homie Spider said that he heard that's what it's called. And so in Modeesto in '83, on the West Coast, California, it was called breaking to us. And what we were breaking to was Run DMC. You know what I mean? Like the electro funk, all those songs. You know what I mean? Like I said,
Hardcastle.
Yeah, Paul Hardcastle
19.
later on. Yeah, later on. Like that was like in '85.
Yeah.
But in '83, man, it was like a lot of the soul funk jams too were still good. Like No Parking on the Dance Floor, Freakazoid. Like those songs was what we got down to first.
UTFO.
You know what I mean? Yeah, UTFO was '85 as well. But like,
no, UTFO. It was earlier because I got the name Mikey Ice because of Mixmaster Ice.
Yeah. We're gonna check the records.
Okay, we'll check.
I'm just kidding. No, but like in '83, like strictly '83 is what I'm talking about.
Right.
That we had the Radioactivity. You know what I mean? And all those songs. So that's what we were breaking to. That's what was out. That's what we were breaking to. And we didn't know about the East Coast, that they used to break to break beats, and we didn't know that they did that in the '70s. You know what I mean? We had no knowledge of that. So we were creating our own shit out here based on the music that was coming out, the new music. You know what I'm saying? So it was all the new music, and it was called breaking to us. So now you can take, you know, what I'm telling you, like, you know, like to someone who lived here. You know what I mean? They'll agree with me. You know what I mean? They know.
That's what I didn't hear the word b-boy when I started. I didn't hear break dancing either. I heard breaking.
Right. It was breaking.
Breaking.
They lumped popping, locking, and breaking into break dancing because it was just easier for people to understand, and it was like a safer sound. Like, oh, you know, they're over there breaking. You know, but if you say break dancing, it sounds happier. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like rap music. When people would say rap music, people automatically think negative. It's like, oh, it's too black. Oh, it's too ghetto. Rap music. But if you say hip hop, oh, it's a hip hop show, then they're like, oh yeah, my daughter dances hip hop. So it sounds like a safer word. It's non-confrontational. So that's how you market. You know what I mean? Because like record labels couldn't market their rappers. You know what I mean? So they changed it. Let's call it something safe that Middle America will. Let's say hip hop. Well, hip hop is the culture name. No. We don't care. Let's call the music hip hop, because we can't even get these artists booked anymore because rap sounds like dangerous. It sounds like threatening. You know what I mean? It's too ghetto. It's too black. Let's not call it rap. Let's call it hip hop. Okay, let's call it hip hop. So now you have a whole generation that grew up hearing rap replaced with hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Where hip hop to us and to me and my generation was like the whole culture. You know what I mean? And so when I hear people talk about hip hop shows, these motherfuckers are talking about rap shows only. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, you mean rap show? You know what I mean? When I think hip hop show, I'm thinking like more than just rap. You know what I mean? You got some DJs, you got some dancers. You know what I mean? But that's in the marketing. It's like breakdancing is like the safer, non-confrontational. You know what I mean? As breaking, like breaking. What's breaking? That sounds crazy. You know what I mean? So breakdancing sounds nicer. Just like hip hop sounds nicer. That's why they changed it. You know what I mean? That's why they changed rap to hip hop. You know what I mean? And they created a confusion. So it was because of the industry couldn't, you know what I mean? You couldn't get on the radio. You say, oh yeah, we got some rap music coming up. Rap music, no. But we've got some hip hop music. Oh, hip hop, yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah. So that's how that's what happened. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't say certain things the right way anymore because the industry, in order to promote things better to a bigger audience, you have to make it sound nicer. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my little 2 cents on that shit. You know what I mean?
I appreciate it, 99 man. Thank you for all your time, though, brother. Everything you dropped, I co-sign it. Everything you say is official. Nothing you said is like he's lying about that.
Yeah, man. I didn't want to hurt. I didn't want to hurt too many people's feelings on here. You know what I mean? You know, because I have a certain take on a lot of things, man, and I don't want to. I mean, I could be kind of like harsher on a lot of subjects, but I try to keep it. You know what I mean?
PG.
Understandable. You know what I mean? I don't want to. I mean, like, get anybody down. Like, what do you mean we should have listened to this 80s music? What do you mean we should have listened to Egyptian Lover? Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to like come at you like you should have done this. You should have listened to this music. You know, I'm not trying to do that. You know what I mean? But I feel like some of the breakers that came out of this area in the 90s could have at least understood and gave it some listens, and then figured out that this is what was happening before you started watching Crazy Legs interviews. You know what I mean? Because that's what it all turned into. You know, it was like Ken Swift and Crazy Legs said we're supposed to dance to this and this and this. You know what I mean? This is what the original breaking is. So yeah, the original breaking that came from the East Coast. Yeah, you know what I mean? I respect that. That's what they did. But then the next generation, we had our own shit. You know what I mean? That's lost.
Right.
Everybody skips over that era. Like you go to jams now, like I said earlier, you go to jams now, they're really not touching what we used to dance to in the 80s.
I know.
And that's a shame, because now there's a whole history of people that think that we just jumped from James Brown breakbeats to James Brown breakbeats, and that's all that you ever break to. You know what I mean? There's a whole section of the country of hip hop generation that listen to other shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you got to respect that. You know what I mean?
All right, brother. Thank you, man. Peace.